the city of St. Louis come to work every day to work on Jared's case and to work on everybody's case, because I agree, the more people we hold accountable for the acts of violence in our city, that we take to the courts, that we get the outcome that keeps our community safe, we can make this number get smaller and smaller every year. Jeanette, 23 years ago, Jeanette Culpepper, 23 years ago, when she lost her son, saw what we see clearly now, that we need a path in our society, in our community, that is about jobs, it's about education, it's about economic opportunity, it's about housing, it's about everything. Because there is no black and white St. Louis when it comes to murder. Every life in the city of St. Louis matters. And we have to make sure that when police officers come to work, we go to your neighborhood, we work with you, us together, to solve the crimes. Because if we can't do it together, we can't do anything as a city.
All of us today here in this room, in a way, are victims. Matthew 5:4 said, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." And it occurs to me as we mourn those who have been taken from us much too early, that while we grieve together at this time, we are more than mourners, but we are also leaders in this room. Leaders who have not only made a difference to those that have been loved and lost, but leaders that strive to make a difference in the community we live in.
I would like to give thanks and honor to God, who is the giver and the sustainer of all of our lives. You know, I'm going to be very, very brief. Me growing up, I was taught from a child that God gave us 10 commandments that he holds us accountable for. But something in me, as I grew up, coming out of the JVL, coming up where gun violence was accepted and expected, something has risen up in me that lets me feel that right now, one of those 10 commandments irks God more than all the others. God is very, very disappointed in us right now at the rate in which we kill. When we get to the point where we are no longer respecting of life, then we have a serious problem. We have a very, very serious problem. Our tolerance for violence in our neighborhood is too high. We cannot expect the mayor, we cannot expect the police chief to deal with this issue. This issue will be solved two places. The first place is at home. Understand that. Understand that. We've got to begin to raise our children from the cradle. Now, the second place we've got to fight this issue is in our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods have become war zones. Blood flows on our neighborhood, in our neighborhoods, on the concrete every day of the week. Now, brothers and sisters, we must be outraged when the finger on the trigger is attached to a badge. We must be outraged when the killer does not look like us. But brothers and sisters, we cannot be so hypocritical. We cannot be so hypocritical that we accept when we kill each other. We cannot continue. We cannot continue with that practice in our families and in our neighborhoods. Brothers and sisters, we've got to get back to loving each other. We've got to get back to really caring for each other. We've become so cynical, brothers and sisters, that we don't even like to say hello to each other anymore. We've got to get back to the basics. We've got to understand that we are astray right now, and the solutions will come from our families, and when we begin to create neighborhoods that embrace all children. See, I grew up in a neighborhood. If our young people did not get discipline at home, they got discipline when they stepped outside that front door. They were given instructions when they stepped outside the front door. We had men in our neighborhoods that organized softball teams and football teams that kept the young brothers occupied. I got a call today. Mr. Clark, my son, was arrested driving around Bishop in a stolen car. Mr. Clark, I pray for my son, but there's nothing that I can do because I don't have any help. We got to be in the neighborhoods today, family. So as we mourn, we all mourn. We all mourn. But what are we going to do? What changes are we going to bring about? In the 60s, we mobilized and we brought about change. The face of that movement was Dr. King and Rosa Parks. This next movement against the crime and the violence and blatant disrespect that we do to each other, it is going to be a collage of all of your faces. All of your faces who have lost loved ones to this culture of crime and violence that we tolerate. Our next movement, we need your leadership, particularly our young African American men. We need men to step up in our neighborhoods right now like never before. St. Louis, I'm in this for the long haul. No one is going to come into our families and into our neighborhoods and bring about the change necessary. Let's deal with it. We mourn with the families, but we must become more aggressive and less tolerant of crime and violence in our neighborhood. Thank you very much, and God bless each and every one of you.
Faith that will uproot my problems. Faith